The market smackdown begins tomorrow as the markets are getting ready for Jay Powell to come out and drop the hammer. So markets are pretty flat today. Dow finished flat, S&P down just a little bit, NASDAQ down 0.5% as all investors await Chairman of the Federal Reserve, Jay Powell, waiting on his speech tomorrow at the Brookings Institute. The market has shifted focus from the conclusion of the third quarter earnings reporting season to now additional factors that are likely to influence the Federal Reserve in their December deliberations. So all eyes are on Jay Powell to see what he's going to tell the markets. And we know that the markets have had a nice little rally. Let's go ahead and jump into the charts, especially the Dow here outpacing that June rally. He's not going to like that because that's easing of financial conditions. The Federal Reserve wants tightening financial conditions. NASDAQ backing up a little bit, S&P backing up a little bit. The Dixie went on a little bit of a run today, 10 years making a little bit of a move back up today. And oil had a little bounce today on support there. So interesting times. And let's take a look at Bitcoin here. Bitcoin's kind of hanging along at the next level, looking for the next leg down. So Powell comes out, drops the hammer tomorrow. Markets will definitely take the next leg down, start working their way back to those October lows. And Bitcoin will likely take the next leg down to that 12 to 14,000 range, just like it's been doing all along, and just kind of figuring itself out to see where it's going to land and continue to consolidate as we also wait for Sam Bankman-Fried to come out tomorrow, or as we like to say, scam, bankrupt, fraud. He's supposed to be interviewing with Aaron Sorkin of CNBC tomorrow at a conference. He's also doing some Twitter spaces. So I don't know what's going on there. Hopefully they can get this stuff figured out and start the accountability process for him. But right now, not a whole lot to look at. Bitcoin's just kind of plugging along here as it's awaiting the next cycle of the financial markets as they come off of the bounce from earnings season. Retail sales are coming in. Retail traffic is strong. So the consumer is still strong. The job market is still looking good. We get JOLTS information out tomorrow, job openings versus losses, which can be skewed, especially with remote work and how that kind of works, counting job openings, all that kind of stuff. And then we have the Friday jobs report. And then, of course, coming up in the first couple of weeks next month in December, we're going to have the inflation reading, and then we're going to have the Federal Reserve's response. Are they going to do 50? They're going to do 75. Right now, there seems to be a lot of consensus for 50. We're going to find out tomorrow what the Fed is thinking, what Jay Powell is thinking, because we had a lot of Fed speakers. At the end of the day, it's his show. He's the boss, and everything kind of lays at his feet. So these are the things I'm looking at today. Let's take a look at one thing real quick. Let's take a look at the MACD. There's a lot of people talking about the MACD and indicators and things like that. And you can see hash ribbon, the miners are getting into capitulation right now because it's just unprofitable for them. So let's take a look at the MACD, moving average, convergence, divergence. A lot of people look at this for bullish and bearish indicators. And right now, this daily MACD looks a little bullish. But if you go on the weekly, a lot of people were getting excited about this MACD crossing up because a lot of times when it does that, it crosses up into the next bullish cycle. But we are in a bear market, macroeconomic bear market. So this is a very different thing. And again, this is a lagging indicator based on averages, moving averages that follow price action. So if something happens, Binance blows up, if Tether blows up, and Bitcoin just tanks down to $10,000 or $6,000 or $5,000, this is going to roll over just like it did back in March of 2020. Things were going fine. MACD was dropping a little bit. It was on its way back up. And then bam, as the price dropped, the MACD just kind of rolls over with it. As price rises, MACD goes with it. So it's just a lagging indicator following price action. But here's what I'm looking at. This area right here, a lot of people are getting bullish on this, calling for a reversal and new, $30,000 or whatever. But this looks exactly like what 2018 looked like right here. Same thing where the MACD kind of lined up in that sideways consolidation before the final capitulation down. So this is kind of where I feel like we are. I've been talking about this area here that I feel like we're in that consolidation, waiting for that final leg of capitulation down. And that could be triggered by miners having to sell, more FTX fallout. If Tether finally implodes or Binance implodes, we obviously know that there's a lot of, potentially illegal things, definitely not above board, scrupulous things going on. Monthly MACD is still pointing down into the dirt. Again, I don't put a lot of weight into these things or really even moving averages because they're lagging indicators. But, let's talk about Binance and Tether for a minute. Binance is doing the same thing, CZ that Sam Bankman-Fried did, coming out, trying to rescue everything. Literally, he's got his own token, just like FTX had, that he can print, sell, leverage, rehypothecate to do these things. We also know that he will not provide audited financial statements or proof of assets, liabilities, things like that. He just talks a lot, hasn't shown any documentation of anything. We know that there is a lot of issues with Binance where they've been investigated. They've been locked out of a lot of countries, kicked out of a lot of countries, ordered to cease and desist, and they move around quite a bit and have a remote location, so they're not accountable to anybody. They don't have to prove anything to regulators. They don't have to provide any documentation. So we do know that it's very suspect what's going on behind the scenes there. No transparency at all. So that could be just another ticking time bomb like FTX. You have to assume that that's the case. Tether, same thing. Never providing any real documentations, just attestations, which you can pay anybody to say anything. But get a big four, accounting firm that's recognized in the United States. Even then, you can make the books look however you want, but at least they can come in and do some forensic accounting and prove reserves, bank accounts, collateralization, things like that. But Tether is not providing that information for a reason, because they have stuff to hide. It's obvious. And it's obvious that they've been laundering, both Binance and Tether launder money for countries, for individuals, for organizations. They're not doing things above the board, and they're trying to clean all that up before everything implodes. And a lot of investors have a lot of faith in them. So that's what's kind of propping it up. Plus, Tether can just print tokens, buy Bitcoin, sell it, create liquidity to back up their reserves. And that's kind of what they do. That's why they've been able to pump the markets. That's why the price is being propped up, things like that. So you have to assume that everything out there is risky, that none of them are above board and telling you the truth until they prove otherwise. And they're not willing to show you the documentation by accredited big four firms that can come in, audit them, audit bank accounts, things like that. They won't even provide that information. So that just tells you that they're hiding stuff. So hopefully that won't happen, but potentially it probably will, especially as the tide continues to go out. We will continue to see who is swimming naked, as Warren Buffett likes to say. So still time for cautious optimism as the markets continue to work their way down to a more sustainable bottom. Once we can get them understanding of economic data over the next few weeks, we get through the holidays, get into Q1 next year, then we can start to understand what does the economy really look like from a global standpoint, from the US standpoint of recession, things like that. And what is the Fed's stance and policy going to be moving forward in terms of rate hikes and things like that. So tomorrow will be a big day. We have the Fed coming out, Chairman Jay Powell coming out to provide his comments. He's going to talk the markets down. He's going to let everybody know in the markets that they are on the wrong path. They're misreading the Fed's intentions. So we might see another little down day tomorrow and continue down to work our way down to those October lows. And if that holds, then we can start maybe thinking about carving a bottom in until we get into next quarter and start to understand recession. So anyways, those are my thoughts right now. Again, verify, don't trust when it comes to exchanges, when it comes to individuals in the space making claims and trying to, come to the rescue and things like that. Right now there's still just a lot of uncertainty out there, a lot of unaudited, unregulated actors and individuals and protocols that really have no value at all, that are just trying to keep their operations afloat because they're over leveraged and they can only get away with so much right now. But the lower the prices go, the easier it is to manipulate. And you can see that the price action across Bitcoin and crypto look exactly the same pretty much. So it's obviously, a controlled manipulation through by other investors, hedge funds, and large investors. So that's just what we're dealing with. That's the world of crypto and stocks as well. Highly manipulated markets controlled by mostly large investors that move prices. But this is what we have to deal with. We just need to understand it and understand how to work it and how to be on the right side of the trades. Right now, macro bear market until the Fed says otherwise. So we will see tomorrow what the Fed is thinking, and they will definitely telegraph their move so the market can start pricing that in. So I will see you on the next video.